Tops, but we are underway here from the Juan Ramón Lubriel Stadium. Si solo nos estás uniendo, este juego no estará disponible en español.
Perfecto. Buenas noches a todos. Let the games begin.
Should be a fun one tonight from the Lubriel Stadium. Puerto Rico FC going right to left in the all-orange jerseys. Carolina have a bit of orange in their kits as well, but the trim for the whites tonight away from home. There you see on the wall there is Paulo Mendez. It's a 4-4-2 look for Adrian Whitbread. An interesting connection between these two coaches. Whitbread actually coached under Colin Clark for the Puerto Rico Islanders back in the previous incarnation of this Puerto Rico franchise. As across swung in his catching practice for Akira Fitzgerald. But eventually Colin Clark would depart to Carolina, where he's remained for the last 5 years. And now Adrian Whitbread, who coached the previous incarnation of the Islanders, and now this one, Puerto Rico FC, is in charge. One would presume, given some well-placed microphones, you will probably hear them loudly and clearly on the touchline this evening.
They're animated English coaches. They really are. That's part of their culture when they grew up as players and as coaches, and it just continues right here.
Poor pass out of the back. Rudy sends into the area, still trying to recover it. It's towards Rivera, but a good clearance off the line. Paulo Mendez was charging in and nearly had the opening chance created for the opening goal. Throw in quickly taken. Mendez again. Going to leave it for Chris Nurse, who wildly swings at it. It'll be out for a goal kick. Let's have a look at that chance once again.
Good pressure in midfield. Turnover forces Carolina to scramble. Nice little through ball, perfectly weighted to Mendez. Rounds the goalkeeper, just can't find the goal in that angle. Eludes the goalkeeper right there. Fitzgerald, it actually tries to play the ball back to, I think it's Ramos, instead of maybe going with the inside of the foot in that empty net from a fairly tough angle. Squandered opportunity early on for Puerto Rico. Sums up their inability to put teams away with only 17 goals on the year.
As you mentioned, though, Thomas, they did join at the start of the fall season, did not play the 10 games of the spring. Adrian Whitbread telling us in weeks previous how much that hampered his ability to get players. Also, it's a very financially sound club. They don't want to overspend. They don't want to spend more than they make. They want to remain profitable, and their owner, Carmelo Anthony of the New York Knicks, gave that edict as the ball is chipped in towards Brian Shriver, but his touch just lets him down, and picked up by the goalkeeper, Trevor Spangenberg. And
an interesting point, Chris, that you just make right now. We're looking at the two teams that have departed. Ottawa clearly saying our travel financially is just, we can't sustain. We're going to play more in a regional concept with the USL. In Tampa's case, because with a very rich owner in Bill Edwards, I think he looks at this right now that the USL might be a better step into MLS eventually, because of the affiliation between MLS and the USL, and then also US Soccer. So it makes for a very intriguing offseason. There's rumors that other teams might leave. There's rumors that we get more than just one team in the Deltas joining the NASL, as well as in Chicago and some other places where it's being talked about. Now, are these owners that are thinking about investing in the NASL going, I'm not so sure. That's tough.
Long ball is sent towards Connor Tobin. One down here by Rudy Dawson. Tries to send it on his way towards Hector Ramos, who is the prolific player in this one. Long ball is sent through towards Brian Shriver, but not sure if he was even onside, and either way the pass was too heavily weighted.
And as we know tonight, a huge game for Minnesota in a must-win against New York at home. And then the other team vying, or currently in fourth position, Rayo, sitting back and not playing until Sunday, and might know, or they definitely will know, what they need to do on Sunday. A tie and a loss by Minnesota. That means Rayo, you're in. A win by Minnesota. They're both tied at +5, I think, in goal differential. Could make for a very interesting 2 days.
Kareem Moses. Austin Deleuze. And rotated a bit as the fixture list got a bit heavy. No player for Carolina starting in more than the 28 games that Nazmi Al-Badawi has started. While Puerto Rico recovering possession, Chris Nurse trying to get around Kareem Moses and earns the free kick, or excuse me, that was Rudy Dawson. The 28-year-old Costa Rican played at times at center back, tonight as a right back for Puerto Rico, and now we'll see what Kyle Culbertson can do with this set piece. A referee tonight does come from the CONCACAF world, not from the Pro Referee Association, as most U.S. leagues do. It's Valdine Legister from CONCACAF, so see if he's involved in any major incidents. Kyle Culbertson played some at defense this year, but has moved to left midfield as injuries and changes swirled around this Puerto Rico team. Culbertson to swing it in. It is towards the penalty area. Will Arc, and it's in! The opening goal for Puerto Rico FC comes through Sidney Rivera. The third goal of the season for him. And 6 minutes in, it's Puerto Rico 1, Carolina 0.
Well-deserved lead by Puerto Rico, Chris. Early chance in that second minute, the continuation of good possession, finding a way to get a free kick in a dangerous area out wide. Well taken with pace and swung in towards the near post. As you said, Rivera just with a great glancer going far post. No chance for Fitzgerald.
La Barra Naranja enjoying that a great deal, and now Puerto Rico is away once again. Soria coming out of his defensive position and allowing Dawson on his way, able to recover his long touch. His cross is in, it goes into the side netting. Brilliantly taken set piece by Kyle Culbertson ends a more than 280-minute run without a goal for Puerto Rico FC. They've been shut out in each of their last three, but quickly here getting the opening goal and ending that drought. A couple of away results have not gone their way of late. A 3-0 away to Indianapolis, as we showed you at the top of this one, and also a 2-0 away to Fort Lauderdale. Here's T. Shipolani for Carolina. Poor giveaway, though, and charging out of midfield here is Tyler Rudy. One of the regulars in Adrian Whitbread team. Plays Rivera in. Sidney Rivera, low cross in towards Hector Ramos, and another sliding challenge in from Connor Tobin. Not even 8 minutes on the clock, and there's already been 3 incredible chances for Puerto Rico.
Got a through ball right now has killed Carolina. And here's the free kick again by Culbertson. Great run near post by Rivera. That's all it needs, just a little nudge right there. Hard to defend that one. Impossible for the goalkeeper to come. And a well-deserved lead by Puerto Rico FC. Great execution on set pieces, and we've seen a lot of goals. There you see the final ball, which could have been offsides. You're absolutely right. Tobin makes a great saving tackle there. And that's been the problem throughout the year. You get really 6 defenders to choose from. They had some injuries. Goalkeeper's never found really the right combination between Becky and Messing, who right now are on the bench. Moses, Tobin, Daly, and Miller. It's been hard for them. It's been hard for Colin Clark as well, because he prides himself. I know his teams play and don't give up a lot of goals. So the tinkering in the offseason, that means changes and bringing new players in, is definitely there.
47 goals given up by Carolina now. Leads NASL. At one time it looked like Jacksonville was well headed for that mark, but Carolina has been very poor at times this season defensively. After starting the year so well, they opened with 12 points from their opening available 12. Since then, they took 28 from 81. And that is why they are out of the playoffs.
Well, very similar to the story, the tale that we had last week with the Rowdies. Including the last game, 6 games where they only, and that's 6 times 3, what is that, Chris? 18? And you pick up 3 in the final stage there with 4 games at home. That sums up Tampa's season as well, with so much quality and not getting there. That's disappointing. I'm not saying that's the reason why they went to the USL, because maybe think they can win something there. And that's a big loss for the NESL. You know, talking about the history of this club and this league, that includes obviously their strikers and the Rowdies and the Cosmos. Those are their flagship teams. So you start losing teams like that, it becomes tough. I understand Bill Peterson and the other owners. Some came out already, Chris, and said we are totally devoted and committed to the NESL. Some have been quiet. I'm sure the Cosmos is looking right now at a situation where we know that the strikers are struggling financially. Rio in the playoffs, so right now quiet, but that could be a change next year as well. There's a lot of uncertainties about this league, which is sad, because it's been good competition that we've shown here on Be In, Week Out, Week In and Out with Mr. William and myself.
Free kick here for Carolina. See Shipolani there with a heavy challenge in from Ramon Soria, who, when not defending, is cut into midfield a good amount. So an interesting tactical battle. We've seen a 3 at the back at times for Puerto Rico this season. Let's see, will be the vanishing spray that comes out for the set piece. Some areas where this pitch is the worst for the weary after a 11-game home schedule. Shipolani to swing it in. This one's good as well. Flicked on there, I believe, by DeLuce in the middle of the area. The shortest man in there gets his head to it, but it goes wide.
30+%. Almost 1/3 of goals are scored of set pieces. We saw that today again on Be In some games. Bonucci scores. Delaney scores 2 a few days ago. Liverpool scores 2 of set pieces, 2 corners as well. Giroud comes in off the bench, provides Arsenal with another win on the road. So you can see that these are very important, well executed, and trained daily on by the specialists, the server, and the runners inside the box. It's always nice to see their coach when something like that from a training field transfers onto game day, as Puerto Rico did on the set piece. Perfectly weighted by Culbertson to Rivera.
Good step up there by Kareem Moses to try and win it back for Carolina. Thank you for joining us here on beIN Sports en Espanol. We're watching a re-air on beIN Sports en Inglés, if you will.
And another thing, Chris, talking about the defense of Carolina, we've seen, I don't know if this is the last game where we give Fitzgerald a chance, but in goal, they've made a lot of changes throughout the year. Never could find the right guy. At one point in time, we thought it was Fitzgerald. The next time it was Sylvester, who all of a sudden gets a great stretch, and then again gets dropped as well. And nobody really made an impact throughout the year in that position, a critical key position for the Carolina Railhawks as well.
Carolina right now sitting in 6th in the fall standings, 7th in the combined. They did end up relatively close to the playoffs. They're 4 points off of Rayo KC at the moment, but still games to be played. As you mentioned, Rayo, the favorite right now to make it to the playoffs. All they got to do is earn a draw tomorrow, or Minnesota could lose or draw tonight. That game doesn't get started until 8 p.m. So we won't be able to bring you the final result here on this broadcast, but you see a collision there on that right-hand side between Dawson and I believe Nazmi Al-Badawi.
And that's immediately, the trainers need to come on in these situations. Anything nowadays, and correctly so, with collisions, with heads, is an automatic stoppage. And the way it's been done now, player comes off, the trainers evaluate, and they determine, not the player, if they're ready to go back in the field. And you can see it, forehead versus temple. And clearly the Carolina player took the worst of that brunt. Hate to see it.
It was Austin Duluth, coincidentally, was not Abu Dhabi. See him there standing over Duluth and just dealing presumably with the concussion protocol at the moment.
Yeah.
Presumably we'll have this time added on later on in the broadcast. Is able to sit up though. Hot, humid night in Puerto Rico. Colin Clark,
as you can see,
concerned.
And the sweat beads on the forehead of Colin Clark. It's a hot, humid night in Puerto Rico. A place that Colin, as you said, is very familiar with. Had great success with the Puerto Rico Islanders, and also used to coach the national team. They packed that place in a lot of times. They made a great run in the CONCACAF Club Championship, hosted the Galaxy at home. 20,000 people there. And this club, through Carmelo Anthony, tries to see if they can get that momentum back that they had a few years ago for a club that was a lot of fun to watch.
Here you see his counterpart tonight, Adrian Whitbread. These two will presumably have had a beer before this one, or after, perhaps. Do a little catching up. Duluth needing help to get off the field, so one can't imagine he'd be fit to carry on.
I look at that, Chris. I would say, regardless if he can spell and know his name, that's still a very, very woozy, uncomfortable person. You make that change. There's no reason in this game, a nothing game in some cases, very important in others that we just talked about, to jeopardize any player's health in this particular instance. We've seen too many. Taylor Twellman, the list goes on, of players in the highest level, national team, lower levels, to have incredible situations in their current lives at 30, 40, 50 that all are part of the great physicality. The upper extremes are below the shoulder, so to speak, and that's something you just don't want to tinker with or screw with, so to speak.
You wonder when a change will be ready. Plenty of options available on the bench. Marvin Ceballos, Billy Schuler, perhaps even get a look at Omar Bravo, and it will be Ceballos who will come on for Austin Duluth. So we do have confirmation of the first change to be made. Marvin Ceballos making his 13th substitute appearance of the year on for Austin Duluth.
Smart move. The right move. The interest of Duluth's health.
Paulo Mendes keeping it in play. Intricate play attempted there by Chris Nurse, but intercepted, and away goes Matt Watson charging forward. The Englishman towards the air, going to leave it here for Stephen Miller to swing in. We've seen that any number of times. Cross, though, not with the right trajectory for the forehead of Fondy, and will be a throw-in for Carolina. Miller will go all the way back to the center back, Mickey Daly. He earns the throw-in. Trying to meet the run of Shipolani, and does now towards the corner flag. A bit too much pace on it. It's sent in towards Fondy, but the referee had raised his flag. It's a goal kick. Ball had just run up past the byline.
Good heart run in the box by other than Fondy. Strong, powerful. That's just great. Mutual respect. Although Fondy is gesturing to the referee right now to bring the elbow up. He ran into an elbow. Here you can see it again. Good crushing by Shipolani. And that was accidental contact, without a doubt. No malintent. But still.
Martin Del Campo got the little bit of an extra forehead or forearm in there. Stephen Miller doing well to intercept. Shipolani gonna have Fondy attempt the dummy, and Stephen Miller with not enough pace to reach it. Mendes' pass, a bit too much pace on it for Rivera. Will be out for a Carolina throw-in. These two teams did play each other earlier on in this fall season. It's actually a game we saw here on BN Sports. It was at Wakeman Soccer Park. It finished 2-2. The goals from Omar Bravo and Matt Fondy for Carolina, and Hector Ramos and Paulo Mendes as the crosses swung in towards the area. It's actually a game that Carolina looked well in control of in the first half. Puerto Rico Went to a 3 at the back system. It didn't work in the first half. Carolina dominated it, but next thing they knew, they were down by 2-1 and needed an 88th minute equalizer from Matt Fondi to take the point at home. Dropping points at home certainly was a theme for this Carolina side in the fall season and really throughout the year. Probably the reason why they're not headed towards the championship playoffs. You look at the top 3 teams in for the championship, and Cosmos, Indy 11, and FC Edmonton all great at home. Carolina, though, 8 wins, 5 draws, 3 losses. It's still pretty good, but just not quite enough, as the offside flag was up on Puerto Rico's Paulo Mendez. His brother Pedro is on the bench. Twin brother. Two Rieras and 2 Mendezes on the team, so have to make sure we mention their first names whenever they come up. And here is Marvin Ceballos on this left-hand side. First meaningful action as he charges towards the penalty area. Now towards the byline. No cross is in, but Trevor Spangenberg comes off his line just a little bit to dive and claim that one.
We have 2 twin brothers actually playing in the NASL. The 2 kids that play for Miami FC too.
That's right, the Resendes.
Yep, we had them here in the studio.
Connor and Calvin.
Claiming at that time that they were the only ones, till Puerto Rico FC said, "Oh, wait a minute, there's another pair here."
You mentioned Miami. They do beat FC Edmonton in their final game of the fall.
So did Fort Lauderdale, I think, today against Ottawa, Chris. So both
did indeed, away from home. Amaudi, the goal scorer for Fort Lauderdale. Both of those teams in South Florida. First time we saw that dynamic play out, and either making the postseason, but both turning in decent seasons. Miami finishing on 40, Fort Lauderdale on 41 points. Sure, be a feather in the cap of the Strikers. We have a look here at the how they're on Fondi and trying to retrieve it.
And
seemed like Fondi got more of the ball.
Yeah, he felt the initiation, or the first contact came from the defender.
Tobin just sending it away. I believe he's not wearing the. Oh no, he is. He's wearing the facial mask.
Yes.
We've seen from him all season. Cross sent in will force Cyril to play it. See the pitch just a bit dry. It's a bit surprising to me in the Puerto Rico climate. Perhaps they had a tarp over the pitch. Can't really tell, but either way, ball playing a bit slow tonight on this surface. Interception there, neatly taken care of by Culbertson, and now a poor giveaway in midfield allows Carolina to go away through Ceballos. Shriver going to leave it for Al-Badawi. Now here's Stephen Miller in the overlap. Has a run available. Elects to poke it out wide for Shipolani. He'll come inside towards the area. Right-footed cross. He'll get it on the return from the diving header. Shipolani, a couple of teasing efforts. Will now try and play it in the channel for Miller. And concedes the throw in does Puerto Rico FC. Shipolani will allow Stephen Miller to take it. Adrian Whitbread, you'll certainly hear him barking out commands a few times this evening, and a free kick given away there by Puerto Rico's Paulo Mendez, and it'll be in a fairly dangerous area to be swung in. We have seen Nazmi Al-Badawi take these quickly, so Puerto Rico on alert for that.
Well, Al-Badawi, the leading assist man in the NASL, can put balls on a platter. You look at Fondi, you look at Tobin and Daly going forward. And then obviously on the other side of the ball, you get Del Campo, Diaz, Ramos as well. Big bodies that will collide. He is, nowadays, you can set blocks like they do in basketball as well. See if somebody can fight through a pick or can release somebody and get open.
See what Marvin Ceballos pulls out of his locker on as a substitute for the injured Austin Deleuze, who seemingly left with a concussion. Don't want to speculate without knowing. Ceballos is swinging in far post and a bit too much pace on it. Landed in a decent area right on the edge of that 6-yard box, but
a little surprised that you got one of the best strikers, servers off the ball, crosses off the ball with 10 assists. Obviously, Al-Badawi there. You let a Ceballos take that free kick that goes way over everybody's head because the runs were clearly made towards the near post.
Should say with the poor defensive record of Puerto Rico, third to last in the fall in conceding goals, Carolina and Jacksonville. Not very good when scoring first. 2 wins, 4 draws, and a loss in the 7 times that they've scored first. So they don't normally come by goals, and when they do, they've struggled to hold on to leads. In fairness to them, they have come back to win twice from down by that 1-0 score line, which have seemed to be very pivotal in this NASL season. But earning just 10 points from available 21 when scoring that opening goal. We'll see what they can do tonight. Again, here down this left-hand side, options available for Ceballos. They'll like to take Matt Watson. I've seen him have more than a few rips on the pregame, the one that hit the crossbar against Minnesota last week. We've seen on beIN Sports some screamers that have gone for that top corner.
We've seen some real pleasant surprises this year. You know, everybody counted Rayo out. Let's be real honest. Coaching change, or actually the coach walked away. Some problems with the ownership. The field was removed, actually. No home pitch to play on. They resolved that. Gerard News comes in, loses, I think, his first 2 or 3 games, and then they go on a 9 or 10 game unbeaten streak to get themselves in 4th place because teams above them, Tampa, Minnesota in particular, they're dropping points. That's a feel-good story.
Ceballos posted through towards Al-Madawi. He trips and falls, but regaining possession is Carolina. Ceballos trying to run through defenders there, and Ramon Soria out fouling the number 7 Ceballos from Guatemala City. First outdoor player to ever score for Guatemala in a tournament, and they take it quickly here into the area, charging in Cipollone, tries to play it across. Matt Fondi off the line, tries to poke it in, but it sails over the bar. Matt Fondi with a gilt-edged chance to score the equalizing goal for the Railhawks.
Matt Fondi would like to get both of those chances back, obviously. And again, it sums his season up. Yes, he's got a team-leading 7 goals, or I think 6 or 7 goals. But he could have been at 12 or 14. He should have been in the top 3. And the amount of chances this team creates, Carolina, because they're very good going forward. We just talked about Shriver with 5. They'll lose with 5. Great run by Cipollone. Pulls the ball back with that left foot. And Fondi can't execute either on that first left-footed strike that gets blocked, I think, by a defender. And then the rebound, which just needs a simple inside of the foot touch and not a shoelace touch when he does, and the ball sails over.
You do wonder what Spangenberg was having a go at the referee for, because he came charging off his line. Didn't see any offside in that, but perhaps appeals for the short free kick. Chris Nurse maintaining possession here for Puerto Rico FC. As you mentioned, this is not something they typically do, and there is that Route 1 ball towards Rivera. And now Nurse trying to play Soria in. We see really the makings of a interesting system. Looks like Soria is a bit further forward than Culbertson is. As the long ball is sent over the top towards Rudy Dawson, but he was offside.
Yeah, nice spell of possession. Looking still eventually at some depth in your game. Like that back forward is to creep up just a little bit more when you play the possession game, and then you try to find some space over the top with and without the ball. Unfortunately, just offsides.
Long ball is sent up towards Matt Fondi. Culbertson now to regain possession for Puerto Rico. Nurse, Rudy, Dawson. Long ball is sent in towards the area, but coming off his line is Akira Fitzgerald, the Japanese goalkeeper, making his 13th start of the season. His backup tonight is Macklin Robinson, who was a young player signed ahead of the New York Cosmos game in the spring for Carolina as their 3rd goalkeeper, and is forced onto the bench tonight with the injury to Silvestre as the ball is attempted towards Ceballos, but well wayward there by Connor Tobin.
That's one of the great pluses of this league too, Chris. You talked about a Japanese goalkeeper. It's so multicultural, you know, in every team throughout this league, from some great players from England like Joe Cole, one or two really important players from Mexico in Bravo, and Gerardo from Indy, and then some players that might get an opportunity to use this as a little bit of a springboard to maybe eventually get to MLS, which has happened in the past and will continue to do so going forward. So this league displays a real good role in a lot of things. Smaller communities that can really rally around their teams. Players that hope that they can go elsewhere. Players that are very happy where they're at now as well, and cultivate a relationship with the fans.
Gailey with a Route 1 ball towards Fondy. Brian Schreiber going to try and retrieve it, but it's picked up there by Tata Rudy and swept away by Rudy Dawson. They're there by Kareem Moses trying to send it back, and now the long ball by Chris Nurse. Mickey Gailey heading it back to his goalkeeper. It's a bit of an awkward bounce for him. He's able to retrieve it. Now the long throw will be whipped towards Stephen Miller, who's really taken that right back position since Kareem Moses was forced to move to the left. The injury to Paul Black. Only played in 5 games for Carolina last season, but has elevated that now to this is 15th game, so tripling that total. Cipollani switching the play for Kareem Moses. Struggled at times with that left back position, particularly with swinging in crosses with his left foot on overlapping runs. Here's Watson now with a bit of space. Going to play in Stephen Miller, who's got Akers thrown into. Miller to measure the cross towards the far post, headed on and in! The equalizing goal coming from Kareem Moses. The left back coming all the way forward to level this one for the Carolina Railhawks. It's Puerto Rico 1, Carolina 1.
This pretty much, you look at Colin Clark right here, sums up what his team does well. Possession with a purpose, finding your fullbacks going forward. And the build-up initially started with Moses on the left side. They found and switched the point of attack. Moses continued his run. And then you're right, the right fullback, Mr. Miller, puts in a good cross, which has been very inconsistent from him throughout the year. Perfectly far post for Moses to hit that one home. Well executed attack. Combination play, threats, good crosses, and a thundering header, far post on the weak side by Mr. Moses. And just to think that at the beginning of the year he was on the right side, crossing balls in. Now he's making a habit of making those runs from deep positions. Carolina's always an entertaining team to watch, Chris. They want to go forward. They want to play almost to a fault as well. That exposes their back four consistently. As you can see, if this breaks down, Moses is forward and Miller is forward. So there's great opportunities on the counter to expose the back to that eventually with those fullbacks pushing forward on the counter, which has happened so repeatedly. But I love the fact that Colin Clark stays true to his philosophy.
Long ball sent towards the area by Cristiano Diaz. Won by Soria, who's come very far forward. His positional interchange is quite interesting. Almost played as a central midfielder at times. Back for Cristiano Diaz, the captain for tonight, towards Rivera, and he's offside. Carolina, though, has not shown a great deal of resilience in terms of coming back from behind to win games. They recovered just 7 points from 45 after going down 1-0, 2 wins, a draw, and 12 losses when conceding first. We'll see what kind of result they can pull off tonight. Ceballos coming in off that left-hand side, going to play it short with Al-Badawi. Now going to try and play Cipollani in. He just let it run. He was able to get that first touch off. A little bit of confusion there between the defenders. Cipollani swings it in towards Brian Schreiber. Floated Matt Fondy! And it just goes wide. Charging in to try and get the decisive touch. But unable to get the toe on it was Ceballos. Let's have another look at this one. Trevor Spangenberg nearly giving up a second.
And what Carolina does so well, you know, principles of attack. The first thing is depth. The second thing is width. They get great width, and Miller with the overlapping run freezes two defenders right here that allows Cipollani to play the ball in, and then with good runners off the ball, like Fondi. Ooh, I actually think that
Spangenberg got
might have got a little piece of that. Yes.
Did. Great save then. Not that might have been heading for that.
Normally, if I was the goalkeeper, I would claim that one. Yeah, it was a corner. I saved that.
Though Spangenberg very authoritative with his back line.
Going back to that, the record of Carolina is pretty interesting. Rarely coming back from a deficit. I guess the best team to play against is Puerto Rico because they can hold on to a lead.
Those stats provided by our great friends at Opta.
And that's a great stat, Chris, for both teams, actually, because that has something to do with a mentality. If you can't hold on to a lead, if you can't recover from being down somewhere, then it's not just playing ability. It's how, as a team, you cope with being under duress. And that means characters, tough guys, honest guys, guys that want to take responsibility. You haven't seen that with both teams throughout the year.
Cipollani, Al-Badawi now with some space towards the far post with Ceballos. The challenge is in from Rudy Dawson. Some appeals for a penalty, not given. And now the whistle is blown. Might have been offside.
The entry ball from just outside of that 18-yard box early to the weak side has created problems. That's how Moses gets his goal as well. There's some really good runs being made by Ceballos off the ball. Dawson is ball watching a little bit crispy. He's allowing that run to be made in his back. And then when it happens, it's very hard for a defender to recover.
One back off of the head of Kareem Moses. Neatly one back though by Carolina. Some interchange here in midfield. Puerto Rico and Carolina 1-1 here at the Juan Ramon Lubriel Stadium. About 7.5 minutes to go before first half stoppage time. The goals coming from Sidney Rivera and Kareem Moses, the defender, came all the way forward in an overlapping attack. This ball is played towards Fondi, a bit too heavy off the foot of Mickey Daly. Apologize for any language you might hear. Pitch side. Solo nos estás uniendo. Este juego no está disponible en español. On this right-hand side for Puerto Rico. One back though by Matt Watson. Nicely done. And try and get a counter-attack going. Plenty of space for Stephen Miller to run into. He finally does play it. Watson perhaps waiting a bit too long. You have a go at that one. Carolina, though, will certainly be content to hold possession here. As we've mentioned, worst in the league in terms of conceding goals. They've given up 47, and one would presume the philosophy at the moment is, well, if they don't have the ball, they can't score, but you certainly don't want to be picked off in a counterattack. By maintaining possession here through Watson is important. Nazmi Al-Badawi, one of a few players in this team that is from the North Carolina area where the Railhawks play their football. Marvin Ceballos charging forward, has a go from distance, but it goes straight into La Barra Naranja behind that goal.
And you can see Del Campo and Diaz just looking at their midfield forward and two attacking as well. The first line of confrontation, Chris, obviously determines a lot of things. It's very deep, almost in your own half at home, which is not very good. That forces you back for almost to defend around their own 18-yard box, and in most cases inside their own 18-yard box. So they're inviting Carolina fairly easily to get upfield through possession and get in positions where they can cross.
A couple of players fluffing their lines, but it allows Tyler Rudy to go on his way. His shot, not enough pace on it. Good through ball from Hector Ramos. Machine tonight just doesn't have that bit of quickness. He has missed a couple of games of late, presumably with fitness issues. Can't imagine Adrian Whitbread would ever pull his talisman out of his lineup voluntarily. He has been on something of a goalless drought, though. His last 8 appearances coming into this one without a goal. Hasn't scored since August. For someone who hit the ground running in NASL, Hector Ramos, without a goal in 2 months is fairly surprising. As Miller now towards the byline, neat turn, chipped in, and Trevor Spangenberg able to catch. August the 20th against the New York Cosmos, the last time Hector Ramos scored for Puerto Rico FC. As you see here, is level with Carolina, 1-1, getting a goal early, but as they have been wont to do, have let in some goals. These are two of the worst teams in the league in terms of shipping goals. If you want to just look at the fall season to allow a level playing field, Puerto Rico 3rd from last, Carolina 2nd from last. Only Jacksonville Armada worse. Actually, Carolina was tied for last with Jacksonville. 33 goals coming in. These are not two very good defensive teams, as is reflected on the scoreline. Both teams having scored. A 1-2 attempted here. The return pass from Tyler Rudy, never really finding the angle. And a long ball sent away. Shriver will try and put some pressure on Martin Del Campo, and he's just going to have to give it away. Good coordination there between the strikers to run at defenders and goalkeeper. Possession given away there by Carolina. And now Rivera.
You just talked about the standings, Chris. I mean, there's more than just...
Ball is shipped over the top. Ramos staying onside. Past the keeper. And scoring. Hector Ramos breaking that goal-scoring drought. For the first time since August, Hector Ramos is on the score sheet. It's a second for Puerto Rico. It's his 8th of the season. And it's Puerto Rico 2, Carolina 1.
Sometimes players need external factors to motivate them. Chris Whittingham, you just wound up Mr. Ramos, and he went, you know what, Chris? I'm going to score right here. I know it's been a while. Just like Ronaldo responded so well after he got booed, and the media was criticizing him for his drought. Comes up with 3. Mr. Sergio Aguero on the bench against Barca by Pep Guardiola, sending a little message, coming back with 2 goals as well. Well done, Mr. Ramos, because you're right. Show Mr. Whittingham what you're made out of.
8th of the year. He's now scored 8 of the 19 goals in the history of Puerto Rico FC. Without a doubt, their most important player.
The lack of communication between Tolman and Daly on this goal shows you again the inability for Carolina to shut teams out. Not too many clean sheets for this team this year. Turnover in midfield leads again to a counter that started very early on in the 3rd minute, when Rivera could have scored as well on a breakaway. So this team that does get good numbers forward, but sometimes, Chris, if you get too many players in front of the ball, and out of that number 6 position, you're not clinical in being able to maintain possession, you're dead. And that balance just hasn't been good for Carolina in the last 3 or 4 months.
Connor Tobin to play it out of the back. Once again, Carolina playing from behind. Mentioned their record in going down 1-0. Presumably in those games they have pulled goals back, but have not been able to finish off results, particularly away from home. All season, Carolina has won just 3 times away from home. They have pulled just 11 points from an available 45.
And if I'm correct, Chris, you're looking at the standings. I think that Puerto Rico might have only won 2 games at home. Am I correct in that? So not a very good home record.
Yeah. They're actually their home road splits are fairly identical. 2-5-3 at home, 2-4-5 away from home.
And this used to be a fortress under Colin Clark years ago. It was very hard to go to Puerto Rico and get a result. And that's another thing I'm sure Whitbread is going to look at how can I get that back again. And we talked about mentality. That's important. Yes, you got to play. We got to be technically sound. We got to be tactically sound. We have to be fit. But a fourth component, the mental component, makes a difference a lot of times in wins and losses. And it doesn't have to be always pretty players. You need the Pepes of the world, the Ramoses of the world, that don't take any prisoners, Vincent Company, that bleed for the shirt and will make sure that everybody around them is responsible enough to put in a shift, so to speak. And it doesn't always happen for either one of those teams.
And actually the reputation for Puerto Rico used to be whenever you came in, you played a physical game.
Yep.
Sometimes even bordering on dirty if you ask opposing coaches.
Yep.
But it was effective. Puerto Rico might have to just regain a bit of that edge.
In the great days of the Footlogger strikers, Gert Mueller, Nene Kubias, Ray Hudson, we had skill, but we had some tough guys as well. Figueroa, Arsene August, Tony Whelan, myself. I just kicked people. I gave it to Ray and Nene. They used to say, just get it, Thomas, tackle, and play it to us, and that's it. Just stand still. Don't do anything more.
Have a whack at him, and that is the end of the first half. Valdine Legister blows his whistle, and the 2 goals for Puerto Rico FC coming through Sidney Rivera and Hector Ramos. The goal for Carolina from Kareem Moses, but it's Puerto Rico in front at the half. Coming up next, it's the Express halftime show. Puerto Rico, though, at the half, lead by 2-1 here on BN Sports. Welcome back, BN Sports. Chris Whittingham, Thomas Rongen with you here.
And our Spanish listeners as well. Buenas tardes a todos, eh?
Very
Which
much
means good evening to all.
That's right. Even the Dutchman knows a bit of the Spanish language.
Hey, well, you coached Chivas USA, which I did, only for 10 games, by the way.
Well, you still did it.
Yeah.
Matt Fondi charges forward, going to play to the feet of Al-Badawi and neatly taken pass. Al-Badawi, and again for Shipolani, going to go across the defender, but picking him off very well. Looks like it is Diaz, and now he's going to have the long busting run away. Puerto Rico now with space and time through Paulo Mendez, warding off a couple of defenders, including Ceballos, settling in here with Calarudi. You see Ramon Soria. Ball is sent in towards Ramos, edge of the area. Mendez in there as well. No options, though. He was the wide man, so nobody on the right side to swing the cross in. Sending it into the area, though, is Mendez. Ramos threatening, but Fitzgerald off his line to catch. Puerto Rico scoring first on 6 minutes. Equalizer from Kareem Moses on 31, and just before halftime, the goal coming from Hector Ramos, as you mentioned, Thomas, in halftime. A bit of a miscommunication between the central defenders, and Akira Fitzgerald beaten by Hector Ramos for his 8th goal of the year.
And that's 8 in 22, whereas most other players have played 31 or 32 games. So that's still a pretty good tally, especially for a guy that's been in a drought for the last month or two as well. Started on fire, as you said, Chris, and touching a great goal, put his team ahead.
We should say, only in terms of, you're looking at just the fall season, only 6 players, and they're the very best of NASL, are above that 7-goal figure. You see that Ramos again on the ball. We'll tell you who those 6 are in just a moment. Culbertson sending it in towards the area, sent away by Kareem Moses. On the follow, here's Nurse, 32 years of age, and all over NASL, including with Carolina. Is now Mendez will try and nut it down for himself. Paulo Mendez on this right-hand side, going to run at Moses towards the byline. Crosses in, but a bit too heavy, and it'll come out the other side. It'll be Kyle Culbertson who retrieves. A couple of step overs. Now wants to set up that left foot. Low crosses in towards Rivera. Mickey Daly keen to concede the corner.
The longer this game wears on, and we've just seen Colin Clark and Whitbread in the interview as well, standing still there sweating. This is a very, very tough environment to play in from a physical standpoint. And you would like to think that Puerto Rico, the team that's accustomed to these circumstances, will have the edge going forward.
Corner to be swung in. Head to the 6-yard area. Dealt with there by Carolina. Now Cipollani is away. Counter looks to be on for Carolina. Tries to switch ball towards Shriver, and actually will fall now to the feet of Matt Fondy. He's got Shriver available. Couldn't carve out that window. Here's Al-Badawi. Options available. Not going to have to play it out to the left here. Ceballos will come forward to aid the attack. Marvin Ceballos came on as a substitute for Austin Deleuze, placing Al-Badawi. Elects not to take it with his left, instead with his right, and headed away there. Only as far, though, as Connor Tobin. Forward from his center back position. Now here's Kareem Moses. Trying to find the window. Instead pokes it first Ceballos, but poorly given away there by Kareem Moses. Not enough pace on that pass, and now Sidney Rivera is away. Again here through Paulo Mendes, a Brazilian. Played with the Cosmos last year, 15 appearances. Part of the championship winning side. Beat Ottawa Fury in the final. Cosmos once again heading for the championship finals. 3 teams we know are in. The others still to be decided tonight. Still scoreless between Minnesota United and the New York Cosmos on 37 minutes. So no closer to finding out whether or not Minnesota can stay alive past tonight. Carolina, though, eliminated last week with the win by Rival OKC. They pulling out a fairly surprising victory that could have swung the playoff race over Minnesota United a week ago at Wake Med Soccer Park, a 1-0 over Minnesota. Goal from Matt Fondy. Probably did swing the playoff race in the end.
And the interesting part, talking about the playoff race, Chris, is these teams, there's 3 teams that are in for sure, have done it so many different ways. New York, 58 goals, 29 against, so it's a plus 29, which is incredible. Indy scoring as well, quite a few goals, but giving up 31. Edmonton, 25 goals for, 21 against, and if you have a good defense, you can play with a clean sheet in a lot of games. You'll be right there, which Edmonton proved this year.
We've mentioned Puerto Rico's difficulty at times to score goals, and actually, when you look at their goal-scoring tally for the season, they've scored more than FC Edmonton in the fall season. Edmonton, who finished 3rd in the fall, or are bound to finish 3rd in the fall, have scored fewer goals than Puerto Rico right now, sit in last place.
Right.
Which is incredible. FC Edmonton, one of the best defensive teams, perhaps in NASL history, conceding 21 goals this season. And
25 even in the combined as well, puts them into 2nd behind Puerto Rico with 17 and 10 lesser games. That's
less than a goal per game. Almost
incredible.
0.7 goals per game.
I think Carolina could take a page out of that book.
Who wouldn't have games as entertaining as this one, which right now sits by 2-1. On this right-hand side, charging forward is Stephen Miller. Going to try and toe poke it in for Cipollani. Fondy was in there as well, but no white shirts able to get onto it. Ceballos, though, into the area, has a decent chance here. Marvin Ceballos going to run a Rudy Dawson, forced to turn. Another substitute appearance. Good ball there by Moses towards Al-Badawi. He's going to keep it in play on the byline. Toe pokes it through, but it came out for a goal kick. Almost executed, though, by Nazmi Al-Badawi.
Yeah, Al-Badawi's been very active getting out of those central positions without the ball. It's the 2nd time now he gets end line. And Moses plays a little ball in there. He just gets that little separation. Oh, if he goes down, really down, Chris, he might argue for a penalty because there is some contact there. A lot of times those players are their worst enemy. I'm not saying they should go down just to draw PK's simulation would be good, but he has a very good point there if he does go down because there is some contact.
Ceballos is losing out due to a heavy touch, and now he'll win it back for Carolina. Ceballos, who has played at senior level internationally for Guatemala, putting in Olympic qualifying. Here's Matt Watson and charge forward to the feet of Al-Badawi. Options available on the left here through Brian Shriver, who maintains his position well. Charging into the area, turning onto his right. Al-Badawi again, going to chip it into the area. No one, though, to greet it on the other end. Carolina going to probe here and chase this equalizer. Down by 2-1 here in Puerto Rico.
I like the way Matt Watson again is asserted himself in midfield. If there's an MVP of this team, the games that we've done, Chris, Watson clearly is in the top 3 in terms of the important player for Carolina this year. He gives you so much defensively, but what he's done well this year is he's also become way more involved in the attacking end. I've seen him score goals when we did some games with BN. He's a good all-around player.
Ceballos again charging into the area, has Shriver available, elects to decline that option. Now he'll have to win it here off the deflection. Here's Kareem Moses. Better with his right foot, trying to fashion out the opportunity for the cross. Watson getting stuck in to win the ball back. Play on, says the referee, after Rivera goes down. The shot from distance is wide. Rivera now, after making a meal of it, will appeal with the referee. He's going to say that the lip is busted up. Let's have a look here at the challenge from Watson. Left arm goes back a little bit. Not sure there's too much in that.
Oh, there was not.
When you look at the discipline record for these two teams, Puerto Rico certainly living up to the reputation of his coach. 43 combined cards in just 21 games. You compare that to the discipline record of Carolina, 43 yellows and 31. That's the fewest number of yellows in the league. And now Matt Fondy is away here for the Railhawks.
Go at him, Fondy, go at him.
Going to run the defender Rudy Dawson onto his right foot, trying to carve out the space, leaving it neatly for Al-Badawi. Onto his right foot, tries the shot, but good intervention from Martin Del Campo.
Del Campo did very well, taking away that angle because Al-Badawi was looking far post, trying to bend it around him. Very well read. And that's very good defending. The art of defending sometimes is not just in winning balls, but being able also to prevent crosses, prevent shots, feeling danger, and doing it without fouling. That was just a great example there of Del Campo staying with the play, using good instinct to make sure this shot by Al-Badawi didn't get on target.
Jackie Manedo will come on for Puerto Rico. You wonder who will come off. Certainly a slow change. Looks like it'll be Sidney Rivera. It is indeed. You wonder if perhaps that injury is a bit more serious than we were letting on. Sidney Rivera off. Jackie Manedo on. Making his 7th substitute appearance of the season. Away here is Watson down that right-hand side. And sweeping away the chance as Puerto Rico. It'll be a throw-in for Carolina. Throw-in taken. Over there by the corner flag is Rudy. Throw-in again for Carolina. Now the service comes in towards the box, headed away. Al-Badawi close to it. Finally shipped away by Soria. To maintain possession, use Puerto Rico, and now Jackie Manedo's got time and space. Ramos to his left, Mendez to his right. Manedo for Hector Ramos, going to cut onto his right foot and try and go across the defender, fashion a chance, and it actually took a deflection off his own player. Ramos hitting it off of Manedo as it was headed towards goal. Either way, I believe Manedo was offside. I believe that's the call that's given there. That's a double whammy, offsides and getting hit by a teammate. Ramos did very well there, just cutting inside, getting some separation, trying to go to goal. Set piece taken very quickly, and now Chris Nurse going to have to charge back to his position. He had a drink of water, and all of a sudden play was going on behind him. Ceballos toe poking it down here. Shipolani charging towards the area, trying to poke it away from the massive defenders there for Puerto Rico. See that orange swarm there around the ball. Mickey Daly retreating for the Railhawks. Daly, the 29-year-old from Sonoma, California. And a poor return pass there from Shipolani didn't meet the run of Stephen Miller. It's out for a throw-in. T. Shipolani, the South African. Played in Carolina. It's 2010. Remarkable when you consider a movement around teams where you see some of the better run clubs holding on to players for long periods, Carolina being one of them. As Mendez going to try and send in Marrero as he stayed onside, rolled down in the penalty area, and he was offside.
It's a close call, actually. Fades away. I'm not so sure where the ball leaves the foot of, I don't know who served the ball. Was it Mendez? If he in fact is offsides, Marrero. Twice now he's able to get in good positions. Both times offsides, but good strikers always live and die on that last line with defenders. And out of 4, they might break one and get in free. Ruud van Nistelrooy was so great with Man United, always fading away, almost in offsides position, and then that step forward, and then that diagonal run. Very hard for defenders to track. You got to look over your shoulder all the time. You got to swivel your head. You got to look at the ball. Crafty, and just as I said again, tough for center backs to be able to determine where he's at.
Should say on Carolina's behalf, their last 2 victories, they've kept clean sheets. They have not won without keeping a clean sheet in a long time. Certainly have already given up the 2 tonight. They had a couple of decent chances to equalize, but have not yet converted one of them. Already been forced to equalize once in this match. They did through Kareem Moses, but then conceded the goal right before halftime through Hector Ramos on a mistake at the back by the Railhawks. There's Kareem Moses. Just kind of emerging from space there was Fondy. Saying it. Or the switch was Watson towards Ceballos. Good little flick there to move it past Mendez, but his pass a bit too much weight on it. And as we reach the hour mark, it's a goal kick for Puerto Rico FC.
Ceballos has made a difference a little bit with his pace and running at people, which is a little bit different than Daluz. Daluz is more of a possession player, better crosser off the ball. But you like Ceballos really to be more direct and run at people and commit defender, so to speak.
As we are tracking the progress of the other games here in the North American Soccer League. Final match day of the year will conclude tomorrow. 2 games, Jacksonville and Tampa. Rayo OKC trying to secure their playoff spot. They will host Indy 11 tomorrow at home. It certainly is no gimme, although Indy has not been particularly great on the road this season. One back there by Mickey Daly. The halftime score, Minnesota United 0, New York Cosmos 0. So Minnesota still needing
They need 3 points.
A goal.
Otherwise, the Sunday game doesn't matter for Rayo. They'll be in.
And probably need to have at least a couple of goals worth of goal difference as well. When you consider that if Rayo wins 1 or 2, or 2 or 3-0 at home, they'll have eclipsed Minnesota. So Rayo KC, for those unfamiliar with the picture at the moment, sit 3 points above Minnesota United for the 4th and final playoff spot in the North American Soccer League. Rayo tomorrow, with any kind of result tomorrow at home, win or draw, will advance, face the New York Cosmos away from home.
And the bracket has been set.
Will be Indy 11 hosting FC Edmonton.
Yep. And Cosmos, question mark. Either Rayo or Minnesota.
We could know by the end of the evening who that will be. Fondy, though, their game here continues. Fondy from Shriver. Going to play the return towards Shriver. Intervened very well there by Ramon Martin del Campo, and trying to win it back was Fondy. Just, excuse me, that was Tyler Rudy, who's coming back from central midfield. And we will have another change.
The appearance of
Omar Bravo's going to come on.
Vamos, Omar. Dale. Mexican international. Many years for Chivas de Guadalajara, one of the big teams in Mexico, maybe even throughout the world. Big Clásico versus Club America is always huge in that country. Liga MX.
Also a long time with the Mexican national team. Played in Major League Soccer as well.
Kansas City.
Supporting Kansas City.
With mixed results. And I'm glad that he found a way to the NASL. And we talked about the troubles in the NASL versus USL, defections, whatever, but this league still has quality players like an Omar Bravo that are committed to come here and do well. Fortunately, he's coming back from an injury. You hope that him and Fondi, who had a great relationship for quite a few games up front, that they can give this team a spark again in the last 25 minutes.
Returning after 4 weeks out from injury, last played in the away game against Rio KC. It's actually gone quite a long time without a goal. Hasn't scored since August the 20th. Same as Hector Ramos, who broke his goal-scoring drought tonight. Perhaps Omar Bravo can do the same. He played in 8 games without the goal as Jackie Moreno was in, but he was offside.
That's 3 for 3 for Moreno. Sooner or later, he'll be on sides and gets the breakaway he's hoping for.
Moreno, the young Puerto Rican, 23 years of age, actually made his debut in the NASL for the Puerto Rico Islanders at age 18. And since the folding of that club.
It's great, too, that we have some Puerto Rican players that live there and played there. And we're hoping that there would be a professional team where they could play for, like a Jackie Moreno. And they got quite a few of that roster. So there's that.
Including this man, Hector Ramos, who won the ball off of Connor Tobin and now has the ability to go away. Plays it with his little countryman Moreno, turning onto his left foot. Charging in towards the area.
And the crowd loves it. He's a fan favorite. Quick feet, deceptive, good technically.
Be there the strength of Ramos to maintain possession here through Rudy Dawson. Pulled down there by the defender Ceballos, and it is a free kick here for Puerto Rico. Rudy Dawson just grabbing at his calf there. Dawson not interested in what Ceballos has to say. There will be a free kick here for Puerto Rico.
Now you see it again, Ceballos over getting into a defensive posture. Nicks a little bit of the ankles of Dawson. Dawson goes down quite easily, but still the correct call. And again, now you get the left footer. It was so instrumental in his first goal for Puerto Rico FC.
I believe the referee ran out of vanishing spray. Don't see it over there by the wall. Maybe there's the remnants of the can there.
Culbertson around the ball. Mendes around the ball as well. Culbertson says, you know what? I'm the assistant at first goal. Let me put it in there again and let the big man go to work.
You see the Brazilian Mendes a bit frustrated with having the set piece taken off him. Swung in again very neatly as well, and Fitzgerald off his line to catch. Want to let that breathe there to allow Adrian Whitbread to work his magic on the touchline. Mickey Daly. T. Cipollani, the South African. Al-Badawi, decent pace on it. Now Omar Bravo going to get his first meaningful touch of this one. Charging forward towards the penalty area. Plenty of orange there to surround him. Ceballos crosses towards Fondi. He's going to try and win it off the defender. And it's actually a free kick and be given away against Fondi for having a tug at Cristiano Diaz.
That's been just a fight, a battle throughout 66 minutes right now. Both respectful, both hard, both understanding. That's part of the game. Getting up, not complaining too much. They see it again. A ball's floated far post. Fondi clearly obstruction. Not playing the ball, but playing the man, and a good call again by our CONCACAF referee.
Mendes. The feet of Hector Ramos. Poke through towards Jackie Moreno on the turn. One back there, though, by Nazmi Al-Badawi. The Raleigh, North Carolina native.
That's nice to see, you know. There's people in the community have a connection as well, either played for North Carolina or...
Grew up a Railhawks fan, he says.
Wow. See, that's great.
Ceballos now going to run the defender Dawson onto his right foot, trying to play the 1-2. Bravo back for Al-Badawi. Some probing needed. You see here how strong this defense is for Puerto Rico. They have committed numbers behind the ball. Al-Badawi, though, nearly winning it back off of Tyler Rudy. Rudy, though, there's he getting stuck in to win that duel there and is able to clear.
Well done. Rudy and Nurse, we don't talk much about it. It's such a good job in trekking players, plugging up midfield in front of their back four and making it tough on any team to penetrate, particularly centrally. So that's why Carolina's done a good job in going out wide and getting some crosses in where they were able to get Victor Moses in the back post to get a goal. And that's probably done with intent. They've looked at that scouting report and saw in the last few weeks that Miller wasn't very accurate in his crosses, that Moses really didn't, and you know what, Carolina said, we'll make you pay.
Just wonder what will be the way through for the Carolina Railhawks, who've encountered a very resolute defense here in this second half. T. Shipolani trying to find the ability to cross towards Ceballos. Didn't find it. Now he'll try and meet the run of Bravo charging in. Flicked up by Kareem Moses. Bravo taken down in the area, and it's actually a foul against Carolina. I thought the referee was going to point to the spot there. Not sure what the action was that forced him to give away a free kick to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it was an action of Bravo against Del Campo, using against similar to Fondi, just his body to shield and not really playing the ball. You can see in both instances there's some contact. I think the one that was really called was against Omar Bravo.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Didn't look like there was much in that for me, but I'll certainly defer to you on that one.
It's subtle, and I've been a defender midfielder. That little nudge, just like in basketball when you go up and there's no need for you to go to the ball, and just a little nudge throws anybody off for that matter. It is a foul.
One back there by Puerto Rico's defender Soria.
And the most important thing there, Chris, was there an intent to play the ball? And I don't think in those instances that there was.
Long ball just given away there by Puerto Rico. We mentioned earlier on how little they're interested in possession. 226 passes per game. That's the lowest figure in NASL when you compare it to the most. Carolina, 359 per game.
And that shows you in the possession stat as well at halftime. And it's probably now even higher in favor of Carolina.
Stephen Miller charging in towards the area, trying to play the 1-2 with Bravo. Electing to keep possession there was the Mexican. Kareem Moses now going to go across the defender Dawson. Play on, says the referee. Now the target man is Madero to get the outlet pass off. One back well, though, by Matt Watson. Good sliding challenge in from him. And now Carolina will have another go. Wide here for Shipolani. Have some exhaustion sitting in as Shipolani running towards the byline, crosses in towards Kareem Moses, shielded off though by the defender. No penalty, says the referee. And now Connor Tobin will have to deal with this. Ends it long for Fitzgerald, and thankfully was able to maintain possession without letting that run towards goal.
Now Puerto Rico right now needs to do something to get them out of this defensive posture. Possession is important, obviously. Sometimes being a little more direct and playing over the top and get your lines up real quickly and almost a sprint. Playing too deep right now.
Ceballos, left-footed cross in towards Fondi. Diving, nearly getting to it. Running in between defenders, and you see there Cristiano Diaz just marshalling his back line. A great chance for Matt Fondi.
And on the other hand, can you do something with that high level of possession, percentage-wise? That was short of a Fondi. Makes a great effort trying to get that diving header, just a piece of that. That's Fondi for you. He'll go anywhere where it hurts. Ceballos takes a little bit off that, Chris. It's in the back of the net.
Playing just a bit more pace. Could be the way through for Carolina. Corner to be taken, swung in. Moses and Daly the closest to it for Carolina, but now Jackie Madero going to try and maintain possession here.
Can you foul? Can you maintain possession? Well done, Puerto Rico.
Now a counter is on here. Rudy to the feet of Paulo Mendez. We'll slow things down just a little bit. Mendez is going to have to maintain possession here. Not enough orange jerseys going forward. Actually, they'll play it all the way to the back.
You destroy Carolina's rhythm right now. They had a real good, positive rhythm going forward. And now it's smart. We're up 1-0. You don't want to lose in bad areas.
say this is pretty out and out three-man back line at the moment. Sometimes a five with Dawson and Culbertson tucking back in. Spangenberg forced to come off his line, tries to send it away, and it comes off of Fondi. Fondi putting some pressure on the Puerto Rico goalkeeper and nearly made him pay.
Bad ball back by Dawson. Again, we always talk about possession with a purpose, Chris, and clearly they got 6-7 passes together. That's fine. They're not going forward. They're forcing Carolina more in the shell. But then eventually, you want to get into that final third, not your own defensive third, and play a ball back to a goalkeeper. It becomes a 50-50. So execution, making technical, combined with tactical, better decisions. That's both teams are struggling with that right now. And Carolina, again, turn the possession into being goal dangerous. Again, Puerto Rico, which is poor in holding on to a lead, and that's what you saw right there. Can they be better? Can they manage? They got to manage this game for another 15 minutes right now to get a W in front of their fans. Are they capable of doing that?
Be their third home win of the season to close out this fall season, and fifth win overall. Trying to avoid being the bottom club in this fall season. Here's Miller. A couple of defenders around him, and Maredo conceding the throw in. Good return ball by Al-Badawi to send Miller on his way. He'll play the cross in. Good pace on it. On the back post is Bravo. Going to try to keep it in. Forces Spangenberg into a save. And sweeping away was Del Campo. Miller on second time of asking. Again, Bravo trying to win in the air, but Rudy Dawson with the more decisive touch. And Mendez just sending it as far away as he could. Here's Watson. Going to play it in for Bravo. You see the diagonal run through the air. Excuse me, that was Ceballos. Here is Bravo. They're now winning off of Rudy Dawson. Elbow in there, excuse me, from Nurse. Let's have a look here at the call. It's a free kick for Puerto Rico. I think Bravo is just going to have a word there at the referee, and that has earned him a booking or dissent.
That's a bad one to take for Bravo, and it's also another very good foul in that situation by Ceballos. Dawson can't go anywhere except probably playing the ball out of bounds for a throw-in that goes to Puerto Rico's way. And both coaches are probably going to make some subs now that will really influence the game.
Puerto, the next to come on. He's actually another defender.
Yep. Surprised me. I'm not so sure, Chris. They've gone in this shell now for 5 minutes already. It's almost like prefed defense in the NFL. Are you going too early? Are you inviting this team by pretty much sitting back? You can have possession into our final third. The crosses have been excellent. There's been some danger in that far post where Moses scored, but in the second half, Bravo had a few opportunities as well. I don't know if that's the right way to do it. Saying that, all hands on deck right now. There you see another one that we just talked about at the far post. Bravo getting a piece of it. First touch not clean enough for him to get at the target. Brings it back across the goal. And Carolina continues in that second phase to keep the ball alive.
There's Matt Watson, swept away there by Puerto, who comes on. We'll play the moment who came on for.
Chris, keep a mentality through probably 80 minutes of let's seek that third goal steal with that mentality and say with 20 minutes left, let's sit on this lead. They can win, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times you get punished for that.
Meanwhile, a final change here for Carolina. Fondi off.
And that's all
Billy Schuler on.
In all fairness, you got to win this game. Keep your big striker on and put Schuler next to him. Take a defender off. Got nothing to lose. What we can't see is maybe Fondi has a little knock. But if it's tactical, that's, again, not the way maybe for you to force that tying goal or potentially the winner.
I should say it was Chris Nurse that came off there for Puerto, so you almost don't even know who's going to come into midfield. Looks like answer's no one. Six-man backline, which is kind of an incredible thing about. Coming forward is Cristiano Diaz. And Culbertson, not offside, just swinging across in towards Hector Ramos. Foyer Mendez! Out of nowhere, a chance for Puerto Rico.
Culbertson with his cultivated left foot. We don't have too many left footers, I think, on this pitch right now. He might be the only one, actually, playing a good ball in, similar to the dead ball situation that Puerto Rico scores on that first goal with Rivera. Head is up, eye contact is made, runner comes from deep. Shoelaces, but can't get it on target. Good counter by Puerto Rico. Keeping Carolina a little sharp.
Al-Badawi trying to poke it in towards the feet of Billy Schuler. Sent Kareem Moses on his way. Good ball. First time hit towards Matt Watson. Trying to settle it down off of Dawson. And now Manero will have another chance to play away. Try to find the feet of Mendez, but well read there by Nazmi Al-Badawi. We'll play into the channel for Watson, who hurdles the defender. Here's Kareem Moses. Shipolani overlapping. Not going to take it. Moses not going to try and hit it left foot. Instead, it neatly deflects towards Al-Badawi. Good sliding challenge in from Del Campo. Now Puerto will play it out of the back. Another counter attempt is on. Hector Ramos giving chase. He would have settled it down. Mickey Daly allowing to play onto his right foot towards Mendez, but not enough pace on it. He certainly would have had a great chance for the third if he was able to get that pass off. End-to-end stuff here at the Juan Ramon Lubriel Stadium in Puerto Rico. Al-Badawi. Stephen Miller charging forward. Now Ceballos and Shipolani has switched flanks. Here's Ceballos. Left-footed crosses in. Headed on by Schuler. Swept away by Puerto. Moses going to try and keep it in play. Rudy Dawson charging all the way forward. Forcing Tobin to hit it first time, and actually plays it well here for Kareem Moses. Hit with pace for Shipolani, who's going to charge at this back line. T. Shipolani, good ball for Nazmi Al-Badawi. Shot taken, but coming across there was, looks like Mendez to deflect. See also not only the defense, but also the size in there for Puerto Rico. Closing the windows. Ceballos going to play the 1-2 with Omar Bravo. His return ball falls to the feet of Cristiano Diaz, who sweeps it away. I believe the referee is signaling for offside. Interesting, considering it was a clearance. They're taken quickly here by Al-Badawi. Bravo trying to let it run, but good intervention there in midfield by Puerto Rico. Ramos again going to try and fashion a chance. Maintaining possession. Neat little turn. See there his quality.
He's very comfortable with the ball for his size. Showed on the goal that he's got some speed as well, combined with great technical ability. It's rare for a big man.
Poor back pass though there from Ramos, forcing Del Campo into a rushed clearance, given away. Watson trying to slide in to maintain possession, and away is Puerto out of his midfield position, the Colombian. Leave it here for Ramos. Hits first time. Charging forward is Jackie Manero into the penalty area. Jackie Manero for Puerto Rico onto his left foot. Maintaining in the area. Toe pokes it through, but Mickey Daly there with the intervention. Puerto Rico have looked the more likely to score here in this last 5-10 minutes.
Carolina's just throwing numbers forward. Look at this. They're exhausted right now. Back three can't even get to midfield. They're all walking right now, and Puerto Rico's taking some advantage of that with some good combination plays and good running out of midfield, like Jackie Marrero to show.
You see there Minnesota looking like they're out of the postseason at the moment, conceding a goal.
Oklahoma City, they're all dancing right now in the streets, Chris. The way it stands right now, they're in the playoffs.
Minnesota United would be staying on 41. Rayo would be into the postseason regardless of what happens tomorrow. Headed away. Poorly there by Culbertson. And nicely done by Soria to say, I didn't mean to touch that. And Spangenberg can claim Eric Calvillo the goal for the New York Cosmos. So Minnesota now has A little under 40 minutes to not only score once but twice and not concede again to beat the Cosmos and stay in this playoff race, forcing Rayo OKC into a result tomorrow.
Rayo on a 9-game unbeaten streak after the News took over halfway through the year. It took a while for them to grasp his philosophy. We've seen the changes, Chris, obviously, because we did a few of their game, how they became better, how to implement it, how he was tough enough to take their big man, the Greek god Samarazov, and play with more technical plays, with speed, with more possession, and just a better approach defensively as well.
And not only 9-game unbeaten run, but also on a 4-game winning streak.
See, that's huge.
In the middle of a playoff chase. I'd frankly written them off as playoff hopefuls a few weeks ago when we had them here on BN Sports, and it actually started in Carolina when they nicked a 1-0 result and then took off from there. See here, final change, Brian Bement coming on. Waterloo, Illinois native. Paulo Mendes coming off, so a midfielder for a midfielder.
Good shift from Mendes on both sides of the ball.
Header won there by Watson. Met trying to send it back in. Won back though by Carolina. Going to try and hit it first time and catch Puerto Rico out towards Bravo. He was offside.
Bravo, very frustrated player right now. Got the yellow because of dissent. Not happy with this call, obviously, which was offsides from our vantage point. And once in that last game, that last 15-20 minutes, prove again that he belongs, and what they've paid for him, he will give in return. It's a big question too, you know, is he coming back next year, yes or no? Is he too old? Is he injury prone? Those are all decisions Colin Clark needs to make, as does in the 11 with
Curado.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Also out a few weeks for injuries, coming back again, starting. And believe me, all these players, like Joe Cole more than anybody else, have clearly made a difference for the teams. Don't get me wrong. But you look at a budget, the coach needs to do some are higher than others. Cosmos and Minnesota and Tampa probably in an upper echelon. Some of these teams don't spend that much money and more prudent. So as coaches, you can't have 4 or 5 you miss. You got to be right in most cases in order for you to be successful.
Free kick though for Puerto Rico, taken. Oh, it's off the side netting. Call from our vantage point, it might be the 3rd goal to put away Carolina, but instead the header there couldn't make out whether it was either Bement or Botero, the substitutes. Almost the 3rd for Puerto Rico. Poor ball there from Watson, straight off of Ramos, but able to play it off of him. Puerto Rico's actually come forward a little bit to cut off passing lanes here for Carolina. You have a look again at the set piece.
Jackie Monero is such a great server of the ball. They've been dangerous. They've scored that first goal, that set piece, and twice this half they've come close as well.
Long ball is up towards Bravo, who's offside once again. Wonder just how much frustration starting to set in for the former Mexican international, I should say. It's like you lose your citizenship. You mentioned played so long for Chivas de Guadalajara, 132 goals, over 370 appearances for the club.
He's a god there. About 6 months before I got the job at Chivas USA in 2005, I think it was in MLS. My 3rd or maybe even 4th team I coached, more than any other coach in the history, I think. I spent a few months in Guadalajara to learn the culture, the language, and Bravo was just a god in that country or in that city.
Ceballos now charging towards the byline. Low crosses in, swept away. Probably with that little window there, you can't imagine I'll have too many better abilities to serve than that.
Pat myself in the back, Chris. I did my pre-game talks in Spanish and English.
El Badawi trying to win it off there of
Profundidad. That means width and depth in the game. Yeah. I used to say that to Paco Palencia. Vamos, vamos.
Counter Tobin, sending it back in. Onside this time is Billy Schuler on the byline. Decent chance here for Carolina. Into the penalty area. Toe poked away. Cipollani playing it back in towards Schuler, but unable to work around the wall of defenders and swept away.
Del Campo, Diaz, obviously the substitutions they brought in with another defender. As I said again, that arc of concentration with good numbers. They forced Carolina out wide. They paid for it on one occasion with Moses, but throughout this game they said, you know what, we're not going to give anything up centrally. You go out wide and beat us in the air, which Atletico and some other clubs do quite well. You get two center backs that can attack the ball and win the majority of those aerial battles. You're in good shape. And again, they'll play it out wide.
A line of 5 and a line of 4 defending for Puerto Rico. There you see.
And then we win it.
Diaz winning it. Daly back for Ceballos. Low to the feet of Schuler. Here's Stephen Miller. Watson chipping it forward towards Omar Bravo. Down in the area. No call from the referee. Not interested. Swept away again. Cyril going to come all the way out to play it for Carolina. A minute of the 90 left. Wonder just how much we'll have added on. Tobin. Long for Cipollani, able to keep it in play. Infield for Matt Watson. With a little flick there. And again, all the way back to the goalkeeper.
Credit to Puerto Rico. I said, can they manage this game in the last 20 minutes? With a poor record of being up and not closing games out. So far, it's been excellent.
Giving away plenty of the possession, but
that's okay.
Not too threatening for Carolina. The shouting on the touchline.
Real opportunities, Chris, in the second half, probably 0. Some half chances, but that's about it.
Watson giving away possession there. See there just the frustration and probably exhaustion from him as well. Tobin in the last few minutes looking for balls to play in. Ceballos poking it through, trying to play the 1-2 there with Schuler. Ceballos not going to try to win it off of Rudy Dawson, and he gives away the free kick. Just hearing 5 minutes to be added on here at the end of this second half.
Yeah, the Guatemalan international Ceballos, 2 fouls that he could have really prevented. Can't be happy with that. Correct call again, giving Puerto Rico the time again to settle down, to play directly along, to get the lines up. And they've managed the clock very well.
Spangenberg away. Tobin in the air to win it. Al-Badawi now for Kareem Moses. Left-footed cross. He'll have a second bite at the cherry. Chip towards the far post, but going over the goal. Actually more of a shot than a cross in the end.
And I think that's one of the problems that Colin Clark has encountered as well. Moses is clearly a right fullback. He's comfortable with his right foot. He's not a lefty. That last cross showed you the inability for him in that final third to create like Miller did today, obviously, once. You need to get a true lefty. I'm firmly a believer that you need to get a true lefty on that side there. Look at Marcelo. We just showed that goal at halftime, being able to play balls over distance. Riding the left side out of necessity, I'm sure, because of the injury to, was it Black? Yes. Forced him in that position.
Yeah, Paul Black had played that position most of the year. No doubt an out-and-out left footer. Kareem Moses, though, moving more centrally, able to win it in the air. Now Ceballos for Bravo. Space here for Billy Schuler now on the turn. Going to play here for Nazmi Al-Badawi. Another 1-2 attempted. Flick there by Cipollani. Taken down with Schuler at the edge of the area. No call from the referee.
Great tackle by Del Campo. Huge. And again, we're talking about the art of defending. Tackling hard without giving up free kicks. And getting the free kicks. Jackie Morera, well done.
Taking it straight away. The yellow from Watson before we could settle it down, so did not come off quickly. You can't imagine Adrian Woodbray would have been happy with the idea of Jackie Morera taking it quickly, even if it was to set up a goal. The time might be more important than that at the moment.
A well-played match from both sides in this last game of the year. We talked about the importance for individual players to showcase themselves for their managers for next year. Most players are in seasonal or yearly contracts, Chris. So it's easy to get rid of somebody. It's easy to bring somebody in as well. You attempt it as a coach. I've been there to make wholesale changes if things don't go well. So these are important last tryouts, so to speak, for some of those players. And we talked about Colin Clark having to make changes defensively, let's be honest. And for Puerto Rico to become a more balanced team and more fearful in their own home. You got to win 50% plus of your games there, which they used to do. So he's going to look for guys that are mentally maybe a little bit stronger, still good players.
Al-Badawi sending it long towards the area, but no white shirts there to retrieve. It'll be a goal kick. About a minute and a half left here.
I see Watson, a foul against Marrero.
As we continue to update on scores from around NASL, Cosmos still lead by a goal to nil. The 65 minute mark, I should say.
Minnesota has hit a skid those last 10 games, Chris. They looked like a shoe-in early on, and have too much quality like Tampa. They're not being, well, they are in contention. Don't get me wrong, but they should have been there already. You get your leading goal scorer in the league, and Mr. Ramirez there. And this game is not at home with Ramirez and some other quality players. There's still a chance for this team. The Cosmos have proven throughout now that they are the team to beat this year, in my opinion. I call for a Cosmos Indy final.
Certainly playing home games in the championship. Rayo KC would have to continue in an unprecedented run to win away to the Cosmos. Neither team in the championship finals that will be at home have lost at home this season. Indy 11, 13 wins, 3 draws. Cosmos,
I don't want to stand corrected, but I think the Cosmos last year did the same thing.
Yes.
Had 2 home games, one of them at home in the final, beat Fort Lauderdale.
Another throw in. Carolina not really been able to create a chance here in stoppage time, and that is the final whistle. Puerto Rico FC sends their fans home happy in their final game here at the Juan Ramon Lubriel Stadium. Sidney Rivera and Hector Ramos the goals. Kareem Moach is pulling one back. But in the end, Carolina continues a pretty poor run to end the season as we're taking out to our